It is time for a little discussion about the money. So happy to have with us, of course, Drew Blasik, and discussions about faith and finance. Good morning, Drew.
Hey, good morning, Dave and Ron. How's this great Friday doing for you?
Terrific.
Fabulous. And I'm going to stop now because what I do is I normally take you off track.
No way.
And I want you to, I know we were covering really important stuff last week, and we're kind of bringing that into this week as well.
All right, so yeah.
Next week we're covering nothing of importance whatsoever, but this week, yes.
So I was like looking online. I was looking at some things, and I found a document which is kind of interesting. It was issued by the Congregation for the Doctrine of Faith and the Dicastery for Promoting Integral Human Development. It was 2018.
Oh, so current, it's a very recent.
Very recent, and it is. Offers guidance and ethical discernment in modern economics and financial systems.
Wow.
I never heard of this document. Now, I don't know if I could pronounce this correctly, but it's O Economica or Ad Pecuniary Questionnaires.
And this is the thing. I speak Latin. It means listen up.
Listen up. I know economics.
Listen up.
I could sense that in finance. Yeah. That's all I know. But I found some pretty interesting things that it actually is a guidance for our financial systems.
Yeah, right.
So it's pretty
and
big.
modern financial systems, because we're talking about 2018.
Yeah, so here's a few things. And I think you guys probably heard this before. And of course, it's playing off Rerum Novarum. It's playing off those documents that we had before. But it warns against a system where a wealthy minority benefits while many are excluded. And I love this quote here. Money must serve, not rule. What a great quote, because money must serve, because what happens is, and it goes back to the teachings on usury. If we use money in order to make money, that's where money's ruling. And money should be the oil of the economy. It's serving for the purpose of true economic trade. And really what the trade is my labor for your labor. Yeah. We have to trade productive assets, because productive work is for the common good. But if we're just doing for the sake of money, it doesn't do anything. Right, it's sterile. It doesn't do anything. So I love that quote there, and it talks about the wealthy minority. If you go back to Heinrich Pesch, back in the 1800s, early 1900s, it's about the preeminence of capital over labor is what must not happen. We have to have that fair balance between capital and labor. And in order for that to happen, you have to have laws, regulations, and stuff like that. That's where the government has to step in.
Right, and it wouldn't be. It wouldn't object to the government coming in and setting that kind of thing in place. In fact, it would encourage those
as long as it protects the people in the community. And I think that so many of our laws protects the global economy and not the local economy. And the Catholic teaching is always about local.
That's right. Subsidiarity is so important.
Subsidiarity,
so key.
That's the key.
And as you go through that document and you weigh it against our current economic system in the United States, we'll talk globally as well, but since we live here, how do you think we're doing?
It's kind of interesting. I don't know if you guys ever heard of a guy named Patrick Bet-David.
No.
He does a podcast, kind of get popular. Yeah. And he's a big, promotes capitalism. And he was on a show called Jubilee. You ever heard of that? Where they'll have the opposite, a bunch of people, 25 people surrounding him, and they try to hit him with questions.
Oh, wow.
So they had a bunch of communists, which they didn't know anything. These kids were pretty, it was pretty embarrassing what they were saying. But what I found is interesting, talking about our system, is that if it is a global economy, what typically happens when capital has preeminence over labor, it becomes, and it gets socialized. Even he admitted our country is so socialistic in a way where the top two biggest expenditures on our budget is really just Medicaid and Medicare. It's really a socialized aspect to it. So I would say the power goes to a centralized aspect, the few. Yeah. So it's really not the power to the individual families. Right. And I think that's the key. Communism's to the few. You say unchecked, or you say when capital has preeminence over labor, it goes to the few. And I think both systems. Now, communism, definitely everyone's poor. Besides the ones in government. Right. Yeah. That's the problem with that. Here's some other great points on it. It says freedom in markets is necessary, but if absolute, that means if we let capital over labor, and we just let a great example is in Ireland, that when they were starving to death in the 1800s, they're a net exporter of food. It's insane. You think about it.
Right.
But you have to think about what is the purpose of food is for subsidiarity for the people.
Right.
Right. They should make the decisions. And if you're a person that owns the land, if you're selling it to other countries while your people starve, that's where the local government's got to step in and say, no, this is for the people. Another great example in California, remember with the fires that happened?
Oh, yeah.
There was a person in 1994, California sold this land that owned the reservoir of the majority of water, and he was making a profit on water when they were out of water to put out the fires.
Wow.
So that's what I think that is talking about. If it's absolute and we just let people make a profit no matter what, it's not for the common good, and you have to think of subsidiarity for the local population.
Yeah, right.
Good points.
So here's some great ones here. Critique speculative finance. So we talk about speculative finance, which is when people are betting on, and this is all through derivatives in finance. When we are betting on CDS, like when you're looking at with the whole 2008 crisis that happened. So it's really speaking against that, where people were taking insurance plans. It's like if I took an insurance plan off of you, that if you got cancer, I get a profit.
Yeah.
And that's what our finance system is that they were taking insurance plans off of mortgages. If it collapsed, they get, and the great example, if you guys ever seen The Big Short, the movie, that's what it was about. He took a profit off of other people's expense, and that's speculative aspect of our financial system, which was never allowed until recent times.
Wow. Yeah, benefiting off of somebody else's demise, off their difficulty. Kind of how the Kennedys built their wealth back in the day too, but in any case, yeah.
So similar. Here's another great one. Reaffirms the social function of credit. So we're talking about debt. Condemns usurious and excessive interest. So it's going back. I heard the last teaching of the church was fairly 1700s.
Yeah.
Maybe that was most. I don't know if this is an authoritative document,
right?
But I never heard of this document. But it is speaking out against usury.
Yeah, and usury, you were about to go into this, and I think it's important. Usury is hard to define, it seems, even by Catholic teaching. I mean, like you could say usury is any interest on a loan, but that can't be practical. So
I think the key about usury is, do we have a system that if it's not a productive asset.
Yeah.
So, for example, I mean, you got to look at it. Let's say your car. If you have to get a car, it doesn't produce anything.
Right.
And if someone's making an interest off of a loan based on that, you can argue that is home mortgages.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't produce anything. But what this does talk about, if you go into it, it talks about that if it's a productive asset, if you're producing something as a business activity, then you can get a profit, which is not usury.
And I want to say
That's
this
so
because
important.
it's been bouncing around in my head since you said that. Money must serve, not rule, right? I mean, what a great, that was your, money must serve, not rule. There once was a king who was 12 inches tall. He was a short king, but he was a perfect ruler.
Well,
That's a good one.
Yeah.
that'll do it.
I like that.
There you
Wow.
go. All right.
That's a profound thought.
As soon as you said money must serve, not rule, that was the first thing that came into my mind.
I love it.
Not that I wasn't impressed with the rest.
Yeah.
But if I didn't get that out there, my head would have exploded later.
And if that's your takeaway from this segment, you should re-listen to it because Drew, you had some great stuff there.
Fabulous stuff. Thank you very much. And a document from 2018 using current economies.
Yeah.
And, not talking about, sheep and cows. I mean, we're talking about the breakdown of current and literally the breakdown of current economy.
And next week we still got some other ones. Maybe we can finish it off.
Yeah.
Great.
Next week.
Professor of Finance Drew Blazek in the studio with us, as he always is on
Once was a
Fridays
king.
with Faith in Finance. Thanks. Have a great day.
Thank you, Drew.
Thank you.